Samsung might just be bringing back the Edge, but not the way you think. The rumored Galaxy S26 Edge is apparently back in development after being canceled just a few months ago. But here's the twist. It's coming later than expected, and it's shaping up to be Samsung's boldest design experiment in years. So, what's going on here? For months, leaks suggested that Samsung would ditch the Plus model entirely and replace it with a super slim Galaxy S26 Edge. That plan made sense on paper. The company's been obsessed with thinness lately, especially after chasing Apple's ultra-thin iPhone Air. But then came the plot twist. That iPhone Air rival flopped badly, and suddenly Samsung pulled the plug on the S26 Edge and revived the Plus model instead. Now fast forward to late 2025, and the Galaxy S26 Edge is back from the dead. According to new insider info, Samsung's working on a phone codenamed More Slim. Yes, really, More Slim. It's a follow-up to the internal codename Slim, which was used for the Galaxy S25 Edge. And while the name might sound like a diet plan, it actually tells us a lot about Samsung's mindset. They still want to make the thinnest flagship phone in the world, but they're not rushing this one. Here's what that means for launch timing. Samsung's expected to unveil the main Galaxy S26 lineup early next year, likely the S26, the S26 Plus, and the S26 Ultra. The Edge, though, will come later, probably around May or June 2026. So if you're waiting for that razor-thin look, don't hold your breath for a February launch. Why the delay? Simple. Development started later. More Slim apparently only entered production planning a few months ago, so Samsung needs extra time to refine it. That's probably smart, considering the risks of going ultra-thin. The company doesn't want a repeat of the S25 Edge, which had great looks but came with compromises in battery life and camera bulk. Speaking of design, the big question everyone's asking is, what will the S26 Edge actually look like? That's still a mystery. Some early renders leaked a couple of months ago showing a curved, super flat body, but if the original plan was scrapped, those designs might be too. What seems consistent is Samsung's focus on making the S26 Edge even slimmer than the S25 Edge, which already measured just 5.8 millimeters thick. Rumor has it Samsung's trying to push that down to around 5.5 millimeters. That's incredibly thin for a modern flagship, and if they manage to do it while still packing in a decent battery, it would be a serious engineering feat. The challenge, of course, is physics. When you shrink a phone that much, you usually lose either battery capacity or camera quality. Nobody wants a wafer-thin phone that needs charging twice a day or has a camera bump the size of a mountain. So the key will be balance, delivering that sleek, minimal design without sacrificing practicality. If Samsung can pull that off, the Edge might actually carve out a niche of its own. It wouldn't compete directly with the Ultra's performance or the Plus model's balance. Instead, it would be the style-first flagship, the one for people who value form as much as function. Think of it as Samsung's design statement. And honestly, that's what makes this move so interesting. The Galaxy S25 Edge didn't exactly win over critics. It looked good, but it felt like a one-off experiment. So the fact that Samsung is giving the Edge concept another chance shows they're not ready to give up on thin phones yet. Maybe they see a future where ultra-thin becomes a defining feature again, like it was in the early Galaxy S6 Edge days. Still, the decision to separate the Edge launch from the main S26 lineup feels smart. Samsung learned its lesson from trying to do too much at once. Releasing the standard trio first, S26, S26 Plus, and S26 Ultra, lets them lock down the core experience before experimenting with something riskier. Then, when the buzz from the initial launch fades, the S26 Edge can step in as a fresh headline a few months later. In a way, it's classic Samsung, pushing design boundaries while hedging their bets. They're not betting the farm on thinness this time, but they're not walking away from it either. Personally, I like this approach. The S25 Plus didn't deserve the hated god. It was a solid all-arounder, just overshadowed by the Ultra's hype. So keeping that model while still pursuing the Edge line gives Samsung flexibility. Different users want different things. Some want performance, some want balance, and some just want the thinnest, cleanest-looking device possible. If Samsung can make the S26 Edge as slim as promised, somewhere around 5.5 millimeters, while fitting in a 4,000 milliamp hour battery or more, that's going to turn heads. It would show that thin phones don't have to mean weak phones. And that could even push the industry back towards designs that feel elegant again, instead of just big and boxy. So yeah, the Galaxy S26 Edge might not arrive with the rest of the lineup in early 2026, but it's definitely something to watch for later in the year. After all, when Samsung names a phone more slim, you know they're trying to prove a point. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.